Yeah, let me
Uh,
know. Okay. All right. Yeah, I can see that. Okay. Let's go.
we're fucking live. Hello again, and welcome to the Counterpress Pod. It is episode 43.
hmm
My name is Josh. I'm joined as always by my co-host VJ.
Hello, guys. What's up? Now that the Premier League is back, we decided to start doing more of these weekly recaps. Because honestly, we've kind of missed the Premier League. Like even though it's only been a month. You sort of realize when it comes to sports, habit watching, like getting into the flow of things. I miss waking up on Saturday mornings and crucially watching all these games from all these leagues, especially what I think is the best league in the world. So, Josh, what are your thoughts so far on like the two match days in the Prem overall?
Well, it's kind of been nice, I gotta say. My I've been working every day at like 6 in the morning, or like getting up at like 6 in the morning anyway. So on
hmm
weekends I have the devil's sleep schedule, and I have to
Hmm.
stay by that, you know. But it works out
Yeah.
because up right early in the morning to watch some Prem football. So, um, do we really want to cover match week one, or I think we should probably just talk about match week two and then see how
Yeah.
those guys are going
Yeah.
through.
I mean, I think that some of the teams yeah, City didn't play in match week one, so I mean, like, I think match week two is more better because we can obviously reference back to match week one. We'll start off with the first game of the slate, 6 o'clock in the morning, Chicago time. Everton 5, West Brom 2 with the red card. Kieran Gibbs slapping James Rodriguez after the 45th
And
minute.
let's not forget red card Slaven Bilic also. Bilic,
Yeah, Slaven
so
Bilic for coming onto the field and talking to Mike Dean. But it was an interesting thing I would might add is that, as the broadcast noted, there was literally nowhere else where Slaven Bilic could have talked to Mike Dean because the way Goodison Park is set up, they have the away locker rooms like outside. It's not outside the stadium, but like with like another place that isn't the away end. So that was kind of interesting. So I'll talk about this last since I'm an Everton fan. Josh, what are your thoughts from more of a neutral perspective?
first of all, obviously Mike Dean, pussy boy, should have just let him talk. Like just real coward shit. Um, Slavan King, IMO. Anyway, it started off with Kieran Gibbs hands to the face for really no reason. I think at that point it was 1-1, right?
Mm-hmm.
And West Brom looked good. To their credit, I don't think that their first week against Leicester really reflected um, their scoreline, or like reflected the true nature of the game based on the scoreline. 3-0, but that first goal was off of a really bad pass from defense up, and just got intercepted, and it either led to a penalty or it was just an easy goal.
Yeah, it was a Diangana shot. So I mean, it was just a bad pass from James, I think. James, and
No,
then
no,
like
no.
the
I was I
Cornell and
was
got cut.
talking about in the Leicester West Brom game.
Oh yeah, sorry, my bad.
Um, but I just think that messed up their whole flow for the second half of the
Mm-hmm.
game. I thought that they played in the first half really well, so I think that this West Brom has some ability to continue going. Although also I have no idea how a manager ban works, because I mean Slav was also obviously shown the red card, so can he not?
Yeah, I think he's banned for like it's like touchline ban, so like maybe it's 3 games, like the same way a red card is like a couple of games in the Premier League. So I
Well, I think
assume we might not see
yeah.
Village
I think it
match
depends on the
day 3.
severity of the challenge too, or
Yeah,
whatever you were given the red card for.
but yeah, West Brom do look alive. I would say like they like attacked Everton. Like there were times like the scoreline does not exactly reflect. I mean, kind of does because once that Kieran Gibbs
I
red
think it
card
does.
came in,
Yeah.
yeah,
The Mateus Pereira free kick was obviously awesome,
hmm
really well hit. Um, wasn't even really like a Pickford error so much as just a really well taken free kick.
Yeah, my only problem with
Um,
that is that when Pickford dove, he just kind of like didn't. He did the Kepa thing where like his arms weren't extended, and I get it. You have like short arms, whatever, but like at least like make it look like you haven't like it's an effort. But
There
yeah,
was
West Brom
also
scored.
Yerry Mina got heat for not jumping, but half the wall jumped and half of them didn't. So it was clearly
Yeah,
a
it was.
miscommunication between all of the defenders and the goalkeeper because typically you would tell the wall to either jump or not. So unfortunate, but a really it led to a really nice looking goal. Obviously, it didn't really
Mhm.
mean anything for West Brom. At the time they tied it up 2-2, but then obviously Everton went on to make it 5-2. So it really did not
Yeah.
matter. DCL
So
hat
yeah.
tricks, flag blue in the field. Thank you.
I
It's flag
mean,
blue in
like
the
DCL
field
hat trick.
hive time. We're gonna get an air horn. We're gonna put that in right there. I'm writing it down. Don't worry.
But yeah, I mean, yeah, Everton looked really nice. Like these are the games that you kind of need Everton to win if you're an Everton fan like me. Like like these are the games that they would kind of like last season. Like they would kind of mess up. Like this could
Voice
easily be a
low,
2-2
like
draw.
me.
Yeah, like 2-2 draw. Obviously the red card helped. But they slowly started to take control of the game, which is what you like to see from Everton. Because Everton usually don't do that. So, and they had good responses from each of these goals. Like the Everton of old wouldn't have came back after that Pereira free kick. Like that would, if the Pereira free kick felt like a backbreaker because it just came out of nowhere, and you thought, okay, West Brom's going to sit back with 10 and just like make sure that this game stays out 2-2. But like Everton came back, chances. That front line seems to work really, really well. I had a little bit of concern, like at the beginning of the season, of how they had so much success playing Richarlison and DCL up top in that 2-4-4-2. How it would work now that Richarlison's back on the left and it's just DCL with Hamas cutting inside. But like it looks fantastic because Decore and Allen are just eating everything that like goes past. Like Everton are just doing such a good job. When they're passing in attack, they look so much more comfortable, and they're passing with a purpose now. It's not just they're not just passing back because they can't advance forward. They're just trying to look for different ways, and I think like this is like the peak performance that you want against Everton, right? Through the first 2 weeks, like build through James, let Richarlison and DCL create these chances, have Allen and Decore basically box to box and clean up, and let Gomes be the guy who sort of sometimes initiates, but is mainly there to help be the link up. Not the link up, but like help the guy that can like move the ball from side to side.
Well, yeah, he's kind of been playing in that de facto 10, almost like in a 4-2-3-1. Um,
Mm-hmm.
with Hamas out on the right, Richarlison on the left. Richarlison in that first game against Spurs missed an absolute sitter, a couple actually, but that the first one that he missed, that was, it was real nice. He dribbled Lloris, and he had an open
Mm-hmm.
net and he skied it. But Richarlison has looked really nice in terms of his link-up play. Calvert-Lewin has looked really nice in terms of like a sole striker. I don't know how well James playing right wing and cutting inside is going to work long term. I think that right now it's kind of like a wow factor, but I think that James' true role is really under that striker in that number 10 role with and especially dude, I think James has been a huge lift to Everton. I think that he has incredibly influenced the way that they move and the creativity and the channels and the way that they're passing. But you got to say, Allen has been phenomenal in these first two
Yeah,
weeks.
absolutely fantastic.
Just, I mean, got to be one of the most annoying players to play against if I'm in the opposition. Just a menace everywhere. And not only is he making insane tackles, but then he has incredible footwork. He has the vision to pass. And he's incredibly composed. He's fearless. Like he can run for days. Like a really solid pickup. They were really missing. It almost feels like Idrissa plus. Like Idrissa was awesome
Yeah,
for that ball winning mentality and that awareness and composure, but I think that Allen brings just that much more with his playmaking and his
yeah, just a
ability on the
little bit of
ball.
like sprinkle a little bit of extra talent on the ball. I would say that's not to take away from Idris Ganagay, but like Allen, like if Allen were to move up like a little bit more up the field, I would be a little bit more confident in him being able to distribute, like you said. But like yeah, they've looked fantastic. Defense, they're gonna miss Mason Holgate. Yeremina sometimes doesn't like sometimes takes the completely wrong angles, and then there's the whole Jordan Pickford problem. which we probably could talk
He's
about.
looked
We could probably,
solid in these
yeah,
games though.
mhm.
Both of the goals were not his fault.
Yeah, he
That
made a great
first
save against Spurs. But like,
the Dion oof.
yeah, I mean, like they were tough goals, but like also I feel like they could have been stopped. But I mean, what like let's probably do like a reflection of what we think this means for these teams heading forward, since we really didn't do a preview. Let's start off with West Brom. For a side that just got promoted, I would say they look fine. Like they look like I can see a path to them finishing 16th, right?
Yeah, I think that they definitely, irregardless of how many goals they've let in, it's obviously really demoralizing. You want to start off those first couple games with a couple wins, but these first two fixtures have been really tough for them. I mean, going from a Leicester side that was really solid, that was challenging for, like Champions League last year, to them playing an Everton side clearly clicking with their new signings,
Mm-hmm.
and operating the way they want to play. So, and then obviously getting incredibly, Kieran Gibbs awful, just no place for that. Really lack of composure from like a grown ass man. Like you really don't want to see that. And
Yeah.
then obviously Bilic getting sent off is I personally don't think it was warranted. And I think both of those things combined to really just smack him in the face the second half. And I mean, clearly it shows by the scoreline. But I think going forward, if they can find their feet, I think they have some good pieces there. Um, but I still think it will be tough. Like hot take or
Yeah. This
whatever. But
this
I think
this
they're
won't be
really
easy
gonna
at all.
have to
Yeah.
struggle. But I think that there are pieces there. I think that they show more promise, in my opinion, than say a Fulham. But we'll get to that later.
Yeah, but in terms of Everton, I'll take the Everton. I'll take the Everton side of this one. I think they look nice. I will hold off on saying that like this looks like a European side, because like some people said like, oh, there's like they definitely will make Europe. I'm like, well, like the Premier League is still very hard. We're 2 games in. Let's see what happens with the other competitions. Because like yeah, they played Everton, they played West Brom and Spurs, but like I want to see how they play against like like the top four, like top five teams. But it's a good start though. I think with Everton, this is looking like the most promising season so far since like probably when they made like Europa League semifinals with like Martinez a couple years ago. So it's a nice start for Everton, but like they need to keep it up. They need to keep beating the teams they should be winning. Like
Their
taking
key
3 points
pieces
is an
have to
absolute
stay
must.
fit too. I think
Yeah,
that
yeah.
Hamas' fitness is going to be intrinsically tied to where Everton's finish in the
Yes,
table.
exactly. How many games Hamas plays is a direct correlation to where Everton finish in the table. I
Because
100% agree.
when he's been playing, he's looked real nice. He had a couple off shots, but I mean the goal that he scored was oof, oof.
Yeah.
So I think I think there's a bright future there for Everton.
hmm let's move on to the next game. 4-3 Fulham leads.
This is a testament to how much VJ loves watching championship football.
Yeah.
Take us to the
I
promotion
definitely.
tie, buddy.
Yeah. I mean, first of all, Leeds. Love watching Leeds. Anyone who's new getting into soccer, like, definitely try to watch as much Leeds football as you can. Um,
That's a PSA
definitely
for
don't.
everyone new listening to our
Yeah.
podcast.
Um, But yeah, I think Leeds looked really nice. I think this is like a typical Leeds game per se. Like they looked to be in control. There were some like dubious penalties called. Both penalties on both sides were definitely extremely, I wouldn't say soft. There was contact, but I don't see those being called, especially in the Premier League. Um, but regardless, I think Fulham just I think this is what it is for Fulham, right? Like they're gonna be in some of these games, but like these are the type of games that they
I don't
kind
know
of
what
have to.
games they're gonna be in, man. When you're getting
Yeah,
throttled by Arsenal, and then like granted that Leeds play a very good attacking football, but I mean it's really just like
yeah. They just need to like as in like they're gonna be in games like as in like they have to starting about Leeds like finishing high up the table, but like at the beginning of the season, like if you could just nab like a 3-3 draw, like that'd be fine. Or like if you do play like other contenders for relegation, which could be like a West Ham or potentially in Newcastle. Who knows, right? At this point, maybe Villa. Like you have to be able to get these games, but like they haven't looked good at all in the first 2 weeks, like at all. Um, I mean, and just like they don't have any other service you could say like outside of like Mitrovic as like a main target man. And I think that makes it really easy for teams
Well, I think
to
the
defend
style
against.
of play that Fulham have is just so one-dimensional. I think
Yeah.
guys like
Hmm.
Anguissa bring a little bit of dynamicy, but at the end of the day, I just don't think that they really pop. And
Yeah.
I don't, Leeds have like that identity. No, they have that ability to play out the back. They have a confidence about them when they're on the ball. They play sweeping long ball. Like, they have an approach about them. Fulham, when I've seen them, they just don't look confident. And I just feel like in the Prem, you don't have an identity like that. If you're just trying to cling, you're gonna get swept by the tide. Like it just really does not work.
Yeah. Like I don't know. It's just man, this is just a tough. I just don't see a way Fulham don't finish in the relegation zone after what I've seen from 2 weeks. Like it will take like an absolute turn of the tide. I feel like for Fulham, but for Leeds, like my question is like like they're gonna play fun attacking football. Like can they defend well enough against like better opposition? Like can like when they get into these big leads, like are they going to be able to hold it because their style is so like is so aggressive in that way? And then I also wonder about the fitness levels, like as you say, like because like Bielsa plays almost the same lineup mostly. Like he did, I think he rotated Rodrigo into this game to start, which was nice, and also shows like the quality of players that want to come to later in the season. But like so far, it's been great.
Yeah, 100% I agree.
Hmm. So we're gonna go to the third game. Man U Crystal Palace, 3-1. Palace take the points at Old Trafford, which I think is a
Puneet,
very
turn it
important
off. Don't
notice,
listen.
right?
You're
Because
not
like
gonna
you're
Puneet.
at
You're just
home,
I'm
yeah,
telling
at a
Puneet
top
right
four
now,
club.
just press pause, fast forward a little bit. You're just not gonna like what we have to say.
Yeah. If you're a United fan, please don't listen to the next like 5 to 10 minutes of what we're about to say. United just they look like completely different from the team that was there during the restart, right? Like they just looked completely switched off. Didn't look sharp on the ball at all. Bruno played nice, I would say, but like their back line is just so bad, right? At this point, like
Well, they kind of
not.
have Kepa syndrome, especially Lindelof. Like he just did not look confident in any of like the back header at times. Like there were points where it really looked like Zaha was about to really get in and capitalize, and he did
Mhm.
once there. But it you just wonder like I don't know. I really do feel bad for Ole because he's clearly not been backed. Like he's playing as many minutes as he did for United last season, and now clearly he has to be their kind of focal point on the right. If they don't get Sancho in, like it's really stupid. Like adding Donny Van de Beek, who arguably you already have someone who's better than him in Pogba that plays his position. I get that you need depth, but you need a superstar in a position where
Need to
you
fill out
don't
that starting
already
11
have
first
it.
before you
You
start
know,
worrying
like
about
yeah,
subs.
yeah, like if you're really gonna go for depth, then go for two or three guys that are okay playing on the bench, but don't get someone who's a focal point for another team and bring him in here and have him. It just doesn't make sense. They clearly don't have any direction. I don't see them really contending for a ton this year. I mean, I think they'll probably get top six, but I think that they're probably going to go the way that they did last year. So,
Yeah, I can see that. I can totally see that being the case. Like Van de Beek's like a nice player, but it's just you need there's other areas of the pitch where you
yeah,
should
I mean, like I
probably
think
look to
he's
improve.
fine, but if you're going to pay 40 million for an 8, like why? It doesn't you're
Yeah, I mean,
like shell out like 70 mil and just get Ndidi, like go for like a true like ball winning like destroyer that also like I mean, do what Everton did. Get Allen if it's really that big. Like I don't know whether it's the COVID having to do with finances or whatever, or whether it's there's still clearly a pull to play for Manchester United. Like I think that's
Hmm.
undeniable, both in
Yeah.
money and in stature. So it's like baffles me really.
Yeah, and their defense looked really bad. Again, like that first goal, they should like what are you doing allowing that ball to like get crossed into the box like that? Because I forgot who's let me see, who scored that first goal? It was Townsend, right? He was on the right side. The ball went right past Luke Shaw, and
Hair
I
plug
think it
United,
was
baby.
yeah. And then that like right past Luke Shaw, and like it shouldn't be the guy at the back post should not be getting a ball from all the way on the left hand side. And then that's the penalty. Ooh, I mean, retaking that penalty. I mean, I guess I felt like United were kind of. It was a bad call.
I
But those
distinctly
are
remember
such.
that rule during the Women's World Cup,
Yes, I remember
and
that too.
everyone universally being like, that is a shit rule. Like, who
Yeah,
cares? Like, why?
penalties are hard enough to
Yeah,
save as
you
it
might as
is.
well just let them score the penalty. Like, it's just really silly. So
Yeah,
really unfortunate for De
uh,
Gea, but
it was a good goal by Van de Beek, I would say, to get him back to 2-1. I think that just shows, like, I mean, if there's a positive takeaway from Van de Beek signing, like you say, is like it's that vision in front of goal, that willingness to like
well, I
just
just
be
think it's
there,
funny,
right?
dude. It's like, why even like, what's the point? Like that, you already have literally, like arguably one of the world's you know, can play where he needs to play, like, can play deeper in midfield, but then can suddenly be in opportune places and at the top of the pitch, or even, in various places in the box. So it's like, to me, the Van de Beek signing is so, and even that goal is so, just shows the lack of direction that United really have, and like in the face of a 3-1 defeat, just it really made
Yeah,
no
it's just
sense. I hope Ole at literally every press conference is like, we don't have we didn't make any
they don't have.
signings,
Yeah,
like,
he does like the Arteta thing where he's like, I need good players if I
dude.
want
Oh
to
yeah,
have results.
Arteta's such a king for that, dude. Just
Yeah,
beating City and being like, well, we would be even better if I had money. Like,
yeah.
God damn.
But like the third Palace goal, like I think that just if you're like at United and you're just like, yeah, this Victor Lindelof thing isn't working. Like, how do you give up that goal, right? Like from the position that he's at, like it's just I don't know. It's just sad. I
Man,
think.
shout out to Zaha, dude. I love when he has good games against United, just to spite them. Like, it doesn't mean like anything to Crystal Palace, but like he just goes out there and plays his heart out. It's awesome.
It does mean something to Crystal Palace because, like, I think with every goal he scores, they probably hike up the price just a tad bit more, just a
Apparently,
tad bit
this is
more.
the
So
this is the first time that they've won their two opening games in the Prem ever. So, shout out to you,
that's
Crystal Palace.
yeah.
You're our
So I
team of the
think,
week.
so I think moving forward, like this is kind of what we want to see from Crystal Palace, right? Like defend, 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 and then hopefully have the guys up top, just be able to just beat defenders on the counterattack, right? Catch other teams sleeping. Like there's clearly offensive quality at Crystal Palace with Zaha, Townsend, Eze coming off the bench, which I think is a really, really nice signing by them.
They were linked
And
with Ryan Brewster, so and then they were also uh, someone said it was phony, but who knows? If they add another forward, they could be, continuously dangerous on the counter.
yeah, and IU's looked okay. Like he's good enough for them. So I
I don't
think
stop this. You always do this. You always say things like, I was been get. No, he hasn't. He, he's looked all right at best.
yeah,
I think
he looked. I
Zaha's
mean,
doing
for
a
them,
lot of the heavy lifting for Crystal Palace right now, but
and he will continue to do the heavy lifting until I don't know. I don't see a way that he leaves. Right, like this asking price is just
at least Roy Hodgson, like 6 or 7 years ago, hit his like aging quota, and he just stays the same every year on the on the sideline. You just look over and you're like, "There's my boy, baby."
but good for Hodgson though. I mean, like I think like was it like last year? Like we were wondering like would he keep his job? And like now he's looking like a really solid manager for Palace. Like they've truly gotten over whatever the heck happened with Frank De Boer in that like 1 month spell. And like this is probably like a very good stability hire. Like I think like Hodgson and Palace have shown to be like a really good fit. So
I'm
like even if you
sad that
don't
they
want,
got Eze because they did really need like an out and out like creative like number 10. And
hmm
that means they're just not gonna buy Ruben Loftus-Cheek, which is just it means really bad news for me.
Speaking of Arsenal, we're going to move on to Arsenal West Ham. I think it was the final game of that Saturday slate. Arsenal winning 2-1 over West Ham with a late goal from, was it? I think it was Eddie Nketiah. Yeah, Eddie Nketiah. So I think Arsenal
Well
looked,
set up goal, but goddamn, this is a boring game. Like,
yeah. Good job
ugh.
by the linesman for not for like actually not flagging it offside because like in real time it looked absolutely offside. From like the angle at
Yeah,
which they
they
showed
were
it at.
playing it from a weird angle in that game for some reason. I
Yeah,
don't know whether it was just the like recording and not wanting to show like the lack of fans or whatever, but
I
it's
think this
weird.
is something we're going to see more often with like referees just letting plays go. And then deciding to call it back because I think that's a lot easier, right? Seeing what happens and then calling it back. But Arsenal, like I said, Arsenal look nice. Like their defense looks really solid, even playing that 3-4-3 at the back with Kolasinac, Gabriel, and
Eh,
Holding with Bellerin and
eh.
Saka just
I think
moving up and down.
Gabriel has looked really nice for them.
hmm
I think that uh, Aubameyang is accepting his role on the left wing, where it's less that like I think Arteta knows he probably plays best in the center, but when you
hmm
have both him and Lacazette,
Lacazette.
you want to get them both in the starting lineup. Lacazette can't really play on the wing; like he's just kind of useless out there. So, um, I think Aubameyang's been nice. He got an assist in this game. Willian obviously is a good addition to their wing play. I think that I think that they'll probably be fine this year.
The midfield
Arteta's
is the
nice,
like they.
man. Gotta love
Mhm.
Arteta, dude.
Yeah, I would back Arteta in saying like they probably need a little more quality in the midfield. Ceballos and Xhaka are nice, but like if Arsenal want to achieve things that they talk about,
What
no,
a
I mean like
sentence.
nice,
What a
yeah.
fucking
Um,
sentence.
I mean like they're
That's
fine.
team captain Granit Xhaka to you, actually.
Yeah, yeah, I mean
I'm just
they're
kidding. It's
fine
Aubameyang.
midfielders, but like they
Just
kind of just need something more quality, right? Because if you like look at their bench, it's just like their midfield options is like El Neni, not really inspiring too much. So I think like I mean, who would be great for the system? Probably Thomas Partey. But like, I don't think that he's coming, especially in this transfer window.
VJ, do you have
And
any
Terrell,
Alwar news?
absolutely not. I have no sources.
Listeners at home,
Uh,
anyone got any Alwar news?
yes, please.
We're
Please.
I'm looking everywhere at home for Alwar news, so if anyone knows,
And all
we're
my
looking.
mentions are just filled up with Aurora, Aurora, Aurora.
I'm looking forward to
uh,
when he
but
signs for a Premier League team and you have to routinely say his name because that's atrocious, dog.
yeah,
There's only one R in his name.
just gonna call him vowels. Just call him vowels.
Gotta love vowels, our boy.
Thoughts on West Ham? I mean, I
Bad,
do know that both of us are extremely negative on West Ham
very
heading into the
bad.
season. They do like the thing is West Ham has some nice players, like some nice parts. The parts are better than the whole, I would
I
say.
mean, dude, Mikel Antonio like almost single-handedly saved their asses last at the end of last season.
hmm
I mean, there's really no. They look like dog shit. Like Soucek is good. Declan Rice has his moments, and then, like, I mean, what can you
It
say
just
about
doesn't
West
seem.
Ham that's not already been said already,
It
dude?
just
Like they
doesn't seem
literally
like a good
just.
fit, right? Moyes in West Ham. It just doesn't. I don't know. It just when I see a lot of these
No,
guys,
it
like
looks
there's a lot of
fine. I think it's great. It's just that the signings, man. Good
yeah,
lord,
the
dog.
signings just don't really. I just don't see how all these guys like fit in as a team, right? Like, because if you were just to write down these list of players, I'd have been like, oh, they're like really nice players that would fit in like XYZ teams,
Yeah,
and you're like, no, no, no.
they have a good fantasy team. If all those
Yeah,
guys were in other play like other teams, perfect. Makes
yeah. If you had like a
so much
12 to
sense.
14 man like fantasy Premier League team and you just drafted, yeah, totally fine. Because like you look at some of these guys that they're bringing off the bench, like they have Haller, Lazzini, Anderson, Yarmolenko, like they all could be quality for like somebody else, which is the problem, right? So I mean, I worry about West Ham.
West Ham
I think
relegated, please.
yeah, it's not looking good.
West
I would
Ham
say.
relegation GF when?
Yeah, I think West Ham certainly look like relegation candidates.
I'm
But
starting a
moving
petition to get West Ham relegated on change.org, whatever it is.
change.org. Yep, yeah.
If we can
Um,
get 1 million signatures on this, President Trump will relegate West Ham. Comment below.
Moving on to the first game of Sunday slate. Tottenham 5, Southampton 2. Wow.
Really bad game for Ralph Hasenhüttl Hive members.
Yes, which is both of us. So, and not good luck. Harry Kane, the distributor. So this game was completely just a
Harry
weird
Kane
one,
play
right?
10, you coward. New Ben Simmons
Um,
take a 3 challenge.
I mean, Harry Kane. I mean, Son, the super hat trick. Like, I don't know what else you can say other than to define that game. A Danny Ings penalty made it 5-2, but it probably was going to end like 5-1. So, I mean, Southampton have recovered from bad losses before. I wouldn't say this is necessarily a bad loss,
I mean,
though.
they
It's
literally
more what
lost
Spurs
9-0 to Leicester
Leicester.
last year, so I mean, I'm sure
So
that they
it
can
couldn't
pick
get any
themselves
worse.
back up.
Yeah.
Um, another tale where, like, Southampton, they were sloppy on the counterattack, obviously, and so it led to Spurs just, I mean, first of all, the Kane with 4 assists and a goal of his own, all to Son, flawless ball each time. I mean, really just set him up for greatness. As we know, Son, once he's in stride, like you might as well just let him go score. Like you're not gonna stop him. Like once he gets going, he's like a freight train. So what are you gonna do really? Almost all of his shots were really well placed. I think the only ones that were off target were when he was offside, so it didn't really even matter. But yeah, Harry Kane play 10, you coward. Dele Alli's out for a while, I think. So play Kane at the 10. I don't know who else plays the other position. Steven Bergwijn maybe. Bale,
Yeah, possibly.
do it. Fuck
Uh,
it. Who cares?
yeah. Yeah, what are your expectations for Bale at Spurs? I really don't know what to think of it because my
Dude,
first question is, can he stay
maybe
healthy?
Spurs will have
Can he stay?
vibes again. Do you think that'll be fun?
Maybe if like Bale can stay healthy. Like I don't know what version of Bale we're going to see because like the funny thing is like we haven't seen him play in like a year and a half, right? Because like he basically was like non-existent at Madrid, like ever since what that Champions League against Liverpool, right? When he was like, I want
Ooh,
to leave.
ooh. Dele Alli for Modric, straight swap.
Hmm.
Who
I
says no?
mean,
Who says no?
who says no?
Who
Yeah,
says no?
another another reunion.
Trading
Um,
a Ballon d'Or winner for Dele Alli. Oh man. Dele Alli
yeah,
should just
I
play
mean, you can,
striker on a different team.
Dele Alli would be great somewhere else. I think that's just my take that I'm gonna roll. Like you play Dele Alli somewhere, maybe as like a 10 somewhere, like in like a link up between like the final third and
All right. Hear
midfield
me out.
somewhere
You got
else.
Son on the left, Bale on the right, Kane playing the 10, and then boom, Bas Dost, fucking striker, dude. That's a champion team right there.
Oh yeah, they need a backup striker, right? Because Tony Parrott left, I believe. I only know these guys because of Tony
God
Parrott because I've
damn,
been
dude.
watching that
They have they.
Spurs
I
documentary.
love it, bro. They have FM like Wonder Kid name ass fucking like backups, and it's so fucking funny. But
Have you watched any of the documentary? I mean,
oh, have you watched the Levy propaganda? Yeah, no, super good. Thanks, Amazon.
I think it's been fine. Just don't like that. They only gave 30 minutes to Pochettino. I'm only like 4 episodes in though,
Yeah, what the
so
fuck, man? Like, they tried to paint it like like Poch lost the dressing room, which is like just clearly not what happened. They just did not back him in the transfer window. Like,
I think a good point was mentioned in that Amazon documentary where they said Spurs reached like this like fork in the road of what team they want to be, if they hit their ceiling. And I think they kind of did, but it's not talked about enough. And that like champions like making the Champions League was like obviously like overextending it. So
yeah,
Spurs are
way
kind of in.
overextending it. Like the team was limped to that. Like, I mean, so much had to go right for that to happen.
I feel like the
Like,
letdown was coming though, right? Like you could have seen the
I
letdown,
mean, yeah,
right?
like
And how
he was running on like so much fumes. Like making Ben Davis look like a good fullback forever will make Poch like a top five coach
I
for
kind
me.
of wonder what
Like,
would happen if like Poch got like this financial backing that he did that Mourinho kind of has with getting Bergwijn in and then getting Reguilón in. We'll see, but I mean, hopefully Poch gets back on his feet
I
soon
bet
and
Poch would
coaches
be
United.
furious with Bale, to be honest. But
Oh yeah,
who knows?
I don't think the Bale deal goes through if Poch is there. The Reguilón deal probably does.
Yeah, I agree.
Uh,
Um,
Moving
yeah.
on to Newcastle Brighton. Other than the kick in the face, which was like that looked horrific.
It's funny that
Um,
he had to go to the VAR booth to give him the red too. I was watching it. I was like, just give him the red. Like it's very
yeah,
he's in behind him,
it's one of
and
those.
he scorpion karate kicks him in the face. Like
My question is like, do you think he meant it? I like here's the thing.
I
Here's
don't
one of
think
my
he meant
questions.
to studs in the face him, but it's just like the point is if you're not like you know I think was it Gomez in the
Yeah, I was gonna reference that moment where
yeah,
they
in the
called a
West Brom
foul, right?
game, yeah, when
Because
they called a foul when he didn't make contact, but his boot, like he kicked so high where he would have just absolutely murdered someone if he missed the ball. So like, yeah, I do think, especially if you make contact with someone's face, like they gotta take you out of the game. Like
yeah,
it
I
was
was gonna say like those are
inconsequential for
one of those
Brighton,
ones
but
where like he probably didn't mean it, but like you just gotta call it a red card because like if you let that go, what else are you gonna let go, right?
yeah. Great game for Brighton though. First half, Tariq Lamptey was absolutely phenomenal. Like, bar none, probably one of the best, like marauding kind of fullbacks that we've probably ever seen, both defensively and offensively. Like he was
Ever
everywhere, all
seen?
over Newcastle.
Yeah, I mean, there's been high hopes for Lamptey moving forward, and I think I really like what he can bring, like you said, like both in terms of attack and how he can get back in defense. Because like their defense has upgraded. Like they got Ben White back from Leeds, so now they're playing basically like a back three, back five sort of deal. They're really positionally like flexible,
They have
Brighton.
very, very tall defenders too. Like
Yeah,
just big, thick dumbasses. Like man, just some big boys. Besides Lamptey, like
Lewis.
it's a bunch of tall lads. Like
Yeah,
playing Ben White, like after Lamptey came out, he got a knock like part way through um the beginning of the second half. But he like after coming off, like just the back line that Brighton put out was so funny. Like just the way that they were set up, and there's these just massive men. But yeah, I think they looked really nice. I'm also a firm member of Graham Potter Hive. I think this is the one thing that we've like through and through actually called from like a hipster point of view. Like we've been with Graham Potter since he was the Ostersund's coach, so um, feels
yeah.
real nice to see him getting some
Never.
yeah. The Hive is strong.
Yes. Uh, I thoughts on Newcastle. I don't really have much to say other than like they look extremely one-dimensional, whether it's through Almiron or say ASM, right? That just looks like to be the only real, like at least from their current setup. Like obviously, I think you're gonna go into a little more like what they could do better, but like they look really one-dimensional from this lineup that they put out.
Well, I think first of all, they really limited themselves by trying to play. First of all, ASM when he was clearly playing on an injury, he went off after about 30 minutes, and the boy Ryan Frazier came on. But yeah, he just looked lethargic, and it's clear that they forced him to come back. I think that there's a huge amount of the attacking uh, like burden that's placed on his shoulders, and if he's not at 100%, it's really not worth playing him.
Mm-hmm.
Because whatever he's playing on, he's just gonna injure that more. Um, I think that if they get a solid game plan, first of all, never play Andy Carroll with Callum Wilson up top. It just doesn't make any sense. Callum Wilson's great. He's kind of um, like kind of the DCL like through and through center forward kind of guy. Runs the channels really well. Relatively clinical. Obviously has more experience in DCL. So a really solid striker, and if you give him that service, and if you have that good link up, t- they didn't score any goals, but towards the second half, once Andy Carroll had come off, they put in Joe Linton. and Almiron as well came on. It really looked like they were starting to kind of penetrate that Brighton defense.
Hmm.
They had been held up for so long, and it was clear that it was such a clear audible. That I think it threw them off, but I think that given a couple weeks training this scheme, um, giving ASM a couple weeks to rest up. Maybe it's a month, who knows? But I think Frazier is a really big addition to the team if he's given kind of a focal role on the wing. I think Almiron as well has to be either starting or he needs to be that presence. They need that creative, um, you know, presence, the agility, everything. And I think as well, Jolinton alongside Callum Wilson is just going to be a much better option than Andy Carroll. Like you just really can't rely on Andy Carroll. I don't think that he suits Newcastle's style of play for what they want to accomplish.
Yeah.
Defensively, really not solid at all. I think that's credit to Brighton, especially on their open play goal for the second goal. Um, a really nice run from Mope and really nice to stay behind Trossard for the ball across. So yeah, I mean, really great stuff from Brighton. I'd say moving forward, I think Brighton could do really solid this year. Um, and I think Newcastle need to find their feet or they could be in some serious trouble.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think Newcastle probably best case scenario. You're looking at mid-table finish. Same with Brighton, which is like both. This is great for both sides. I think this is one of these matchups for both teams that, if you're thinking of like survival, right, as like your main goal, like these are the games that you have to take 3 points from. So Brighton did what they had to do, and like you said, like Newcastle not looking so good at the moment. But we'll see. Like I know with ASM healthy, like will they actually like shift away from starting John Joe Shelby and playing Almiron? We'll see. I don't really have much else thoughts about these ones. I kind of need to see more from Newcastle to determine if they're really, really in trouble. But moving on to like the premier matchup of the weekend, Chelsea 0, Liverpool 2. Josh, the floor is yours.
I
Because I
wish it
really don't have
wasn't.
much thoughts. I really don't have much thoughts
Just
other.
a really frustrating game to watch. I fucking hate Andreas Christensen, man. Like he's so bad. Like he's such a dummy brick. Like even in that breakaway, like I get that you're not gonna be able to catch up to Mane in terms of being able to meet him and get the ball, but dude, you and I get it's Kepa, but just don't take yourself out of the game at halftime. Like it's just so it immediately affected the play. It looked like Werner would have been able to potentially Fabinho was playing really well as that at that center back role, but he has nowhere near the pace that Joe Gomez does, and there was no way he was going to be able to keep up with Werner if he beat him. He was playing a really good line, but again, I just think that when Werner when he times his run right, um, and he'll just be gone once you fed him. Um, just I mean, stupid. It immediately and then the Kepa error obviously for the second Mane goal. First Mane goal, incredible passing play, and then an incredible finish from Mane. I love those headers because they look like fadeaway jumpers. Like they're just so clean to me. But I just. Really unfortunate, man. I'm really tired of this Mason Mount wing shit. Like, I get that all of the wing players for Chelsea are injured, but then just play narrow, you know? Like, I just don't understand this need to, like RLC on the wing first game. It just doesn't make any sense. I don't like it, Skip.
Yeah, I mean, you'll get away with it against worst opposition, playing
Yeah, I mean, like, they looked
non-wingers on
like
the wing.
shit against Brighton. Like, to be real, like, they really did. Like, they eventually got, they have, by sheer talent, they scored three, but like they did not look good, So
Yeah, I think it's taking a lot of time for Frank to try to figure out this system with the new signings. And Ziyech and Pulisic being out really doesn't help their
I
chances.
think I think Ziyech will probably be back sooner than Pooley. but I also think Thiago Silva is going to add a really big addition to the squad. I really think they just need defensive solidity. I expect Silva will probably start next week. Um, I think that Rudiger needs to get back into the 11 because I don't understand. I, 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 I I really hate seeing Christensen play. Like he's not even pragmatic or anything. Like I just don't. He's not good. Like I don't want to see play as Piliqueta. Like what? I think he's also not up to fitness either. But just rough all around.
Yeah,
I've liked
I would say,
Werner. Havertz kind of slow to start, but that's fine. He needs to be given time, and I don't think that the right side is his place. I think he's being shoehorned in there because Frank wants to use any of the new signings that he can, So
yeah, I mean, as a Chelsea fan, you kind of just gotta hope for Silva, Rudiger, like that pairing eventually, like one day, like eventually coming, hopefully sooner rather than later, because his back line still is looking bad. That red card completely changed everything. I feel like because like with the man disadvantage against the Premier League champions, like they're gonna punish you. Liverpool, I mean, Fabinho starting at center back. I mean, with Van Dijk as the cover, I mean, it's kind of you can kind of get away with things like that. Uh, Mane scoring, Firmino again showing his value, and then we got to talk about Thiago. That new signing. Just they upgraded their weakest position, right, which is the midfield, and they got like the guy who can like control games. Like a month ago, like Firmino was bossing the Champions League finals, and now he's joining what is the arguably the strongest team in England. So I mean, credit to Liverpool. Like they didn't get Werner, but like and all that, but they
I
definitely
think now
upgraded.
they're probably title favorites.
Yeah, I think they're probably. I was gonna say this is probably making them title favorites.
And apparently they're
I want.
linked with SAR, so if they can get that in before the deadline day, I think that they seriously lock it up because once they have that defensive like depth or off attacking depth, I think that it's really kind of locked up for them.
Hmm. Yeah, I'm excited
Well,
to see Thiago play
eh,
in the Premier League.
I still think City are favorites in
I just
my
hope it's a.
eyes, but I think it's
I
going
just
to
hope
be
it's a closer
way
race.
closer. Yeah.
Yeah, it needs to be a much closer race. Let's hope. Let's hope for that. Any other thoughts on this? I really don't have any thoughts on this. I think
Awful
Pool were the
game,
better
shit
team.
game.
Um, let's quickly run through these next two ones. Leicester City, Burnley, 4-2, and then Aston Villa, Sheffield. Any like real particular thoughts on the games itself before we talk about what our projections are for both teams?
I was at work for Sheffield Villa. Seemed like a pretty uninteresting game. I don't like watching how Villa play. Like they have some good players. I think they'll probably survive by the skin of their teeth this year, but I don't really particularly enjoy watching them. Besides to see Jack Grealish's calves, um, calf game. Didn't really watch the Leicester Burnley game. Leicester have looked pretty decent in both of their opening games. Um, I, I don't know if they're going to continue how they were, their form wise, like from how they were last year. Um, they were all right during the restart, but especially right before the restart, they were ass too. Their fullbacks now, like they've picked up Castagna,
Yeah.
the Belgian fullback,
Um,
and
and,
he's already made an impact. I
and then
think
they have
he's had
Justin
assists
playing on the
and
left. Who's nice. Like like
yeah,
this is
he
typical
scored
Leicester.
to he scored yeah today.
I think Leicester are really solidifying their
Yesterday.
identity. I think as like a Premier League club, even more now with like these very smart buys after like selling Chilwell and all that. I think Leicester were just a better team against Burnley. Moving forward, like let's see if Leicester can.
That's right. Hey, I think we have to no longer be Burnley haters. I think I might be a
You are a Burnley hater. I don't hate Burnley at all. In fact, I said like I think last year that like I enjoy watching Burnley play, which is more of like a thing about watching like their defensive structure, which is more of like a nerd thing. But like Burnley, like I guess I think it's the same old. We get it now, right? With Burnley, like they clearly showed that they're not relegation candidates. They're mid-table. It's just
yeah.
where in the
we'll see how they look this year.
Yeah,
Sean Dyche will get them to like 10th, dude. It always happens.
yeah, and Nick Pope is arguably could be a starter for England. Like if Jordan Pickford has a terrible year and
I
Dean
don't know.
Henderson
I
doesn't play.
think yeah. I was gonna say if Dean Henderson doesn't play, maybe, but yeah, Nick Pope might
Yeah,
just
if you're
have
Dean
the
Henderson, you kind of
personal
like you
start
kind of
job.
either got to hope that United fall. Like what is that like? Sorry to go off topic, but like what is the path for Dean Henderson like getting an England spot,
Dude,
right?
I don't know. I feel like after that Crystal Palace game, he might have a way into that United team. I think that if they can sell De Gea like either in January or this summer, I think that Dean Henderson is going to get some serious playing time, and then given that job, I think he'll be England's number one. I think that's the pathway.
Yeah, it just needs playing time. It just doesn't it has to come from
Because
somewhere.
I think that Nick Pope's fine, but I think that Dean Henderson showed that like he was a serious not only shot stopper, but that on a Sheffield team that cannot give talent like for like against most of their matchups. Um, he showed his confidence and composure last year. I mean, like, so I think that that's integral to being the number one for your nation. So I think that I mean it's really dependent on how the board views De Gea and his situation going forward. But I thought that he was atrocious in the Crystal Palace game. So
Yeah, it was a bit unlucky, but yeah, some of those goals you can't.
except for the
Some of
penalty,
it's
he
not.
did save a penalty though.
It's just all around bad with United, right? Um, so going back to Sheffield Villa, you get a red card for Sheffield, especially one of
I mean, they
your
played
best
well
your
for
best.
having gotten in the 12th minute and having lost their arguably their best defender.
Yeah, and especially in that system where your center backs are so important to how you not only defend but attack, move forward. Just to have that key piece missing.
Yeah, and when you're pinned back like that, it completely changes the way the entire game plays out.
Yeah, for Sheffield, like if like for a team to lose a center back obviously sucks, but like for Sheffield, it really sucks because, like you say, like the overlapping center backs, and just the way they are with their back three. I
Credit
don't
to
really have
Emi
much.
Martinez for his clean sheet for his debut at his new team.
Yeah, he's gonna be a great signing for Villa.
Really wanted
Uh,
Chelsea to pick him up, but that is neither here nor there.
hmm Uh, moving to the final game, a good Monday night in England special, I would say. Man City 3, Wolves 1. First question, why back five, right? For Wolves, why? Like, why?
What do you mean, dude? It's the trademark 5-3-2. They fucking love that shit. Nuno fucking puts out 3-5-2
Yeah,
in the lines and snorts that shit, dude. He loves it.
I would say, okay, I should change my question. Why Adama Traore as your right
I
winger?
mean, it's childish at this point. I really don't know what they're doing. Nuno, come on, man. Like, at some point you have to realize if you've got a combined what was it between the link up from either Adama to Jimenez or Jimenez to Adama. I think they got alone that partnership was 9 goals last year. So like, I, what are you doing? Like, clearly teams are gonna realize that, especially against a really dominant City team, you did the double against last year. You cannot sit back like that. For the majority of the game, they were playing a very passive 5-3-2, especially in the first half.
Hmm.
They obviously got much better in the second half. And the third goal was literally at the dying end for City. Um, but just really, the first goal, the penalty, uh, really poor play from Saiss. Sliding for really no reason there at the edge of the box. I really think that the box should be curved because I think that when you get a challenge like that on the edge of the box, like that's not a dangerous position necessarily that it would warrant a goal 100% of the time if you're just taking someone down. I don't know. I just think it should still be an indirect free kick, but that's my personal
Yeah, I
opinion.
mean it. I mean, you when you make like, yeah, it's KDB did fall down like seconds before the contact happened, but like that was it
I mean,
looked
he was
like a
gonna take him
penalty.
to the ground. He was gonna sweep both of
Yeah,
his legs. Like it didn't
yeah,
really.
didn't
It's a
really.
penalty, granted, like what the rules are. I just literally think that when you're in that area of the box, I just don't see the same threat that you would get from, like, I just don't get it. But it's just me.
Yeah, and like going back to the Wolves thing, Jimenez was like constantly being dragged out to the wings, which I feel like really doesn't exactly help Wolves because like Jimenez's best traits are like when he's like near goal, like in the box, like he's able to make these chances. And scoring that goal, which like credit to Podence, absolutely nutmegging Kevin De Bruyne. That
Yeah,
was
I feel like people were slandering KDB, but that was just a really nice play by Podence. And then a really nice ball to find Jimenez too. Um, Not
I
their
don't really
day. I
have
mean, dude, there were like 3 or 4 chances that Wolves made and just missed very clear-cut chances. They really
yeah.
could have won
Wolves.
that
This
game.
game could arguably be like 3-3 or 3-2 Wolves, like if they just were to convert the chances, but make or
But
miss league, like the same with the
Man
NBA.
City first half looked like the real deal. They looked like
Hmm.
their title sweeping days. So we'll see how serious they are going forward.
Yeah, City need to be serious like this in all cylinders if they want to
I mean, first of
compete.
all, they got to bring in a left back before the window closes because my God, Mendy is fucking garbage. Like just
Man,
not playable.
yeah, I mean, yeah, it's
Ake
just
looked great though, I will say.
right
He
next to
really
it
made
provides
up
good cover
for
for Stones.
Stones today. I think that once Laporte comes back, they're gonna have a real nice back line, except for Mendy. I mean, dude, Mendy looked fucking atrocious today. He really should have been sent off. At one point, he was already on a yellow from really early in the game, and Adama essentially flicked the ball past him, and Mendy just basically like stuck out his legs twice on Adama, and the ref just gave him a warning. Like, definitely should have been sent off. Looked awful. I think that I I would like City to win because I don't want anything good to happen to Liverpool. But I think at this point, I I I think I'm gonna have to lean to Liverpool winning the title. I just don't see. I I think that City looks sharp, but
There's still gaps in City.
yeah, that Liverpool have now, and I think that with Thiago signing, with the Saar rumor, like I just think they look really solid.
Yeah, I think if City can keep up the way they are for the first half, that's fine. But it's a 90-minute game, cliche. But like, they have to keep their foot on the gas. Otherwise, like this game could easily be, we could easily be talking about how City blew a dominant first half performance and just gave away 3 points. But Foden looked nice, De Bruyne looked nice, Sterling, yeah, I mean, Jesus. Like it was just a nice overall performance. Like you said, Mendy wasn't that good. Ake, the new signing, looked great next to John Stones. I think he'll be a good cover when you if you don't decide not to play Laporte when he's healthy. Other than that,
One of
like
the
Wolves
commentators
got
today was saying that on the Wolves side that they like need to bring in new people, and I was like, they just signed like 6 people. I'm
yeah.
relatively certain. Also, there was a stat that Wolves played 7 Portuguese players today, which is more than any Liga NOS side besides Belenenses and one other team started today, which is
That's
awesome.
actually incredible.
Yeah, so
That's
shout out to the literal Portuguese mafia. So.
I just think Wolves have some things to figure out when it comes to who they're going to play in their back five.
Wolves
Just
getting
play
the
Jimenez and
hyperlinks.
Traore.
They're like we they just need chemistry. They
Yeah, Wolves. Obviously, we're not going to see like most of their new signings now. We're going to probably see a different Wolves team like a month from now than we are today. So I'm like holding off on some judgment, but you can't play Traore as a right wing back. Just it's not that hard. It's really not that hard. But I think that wraps up this match day recap. Any other final thoughts before it,
Mike Dean
it
wild
ends?
pussy in my opinion. With all due respect,
Oh, we forgot to talk about where we see Wolves finishing in the table. I was gonna say we
top
forgot about
four,
Leeds.
book it.
We forgot about Leeds, but like we've talked so much about where we think Leeds can finish. Wolves, I think they're right below that tier of the top six. Like they're kind of like the best of the rest.
I
You
think
would
they're
say.
going to finish a place behind Everton. That is my hot take
Ooh,
this year.
interesting. I think they finish above Everton. I still think they're better than Everton. Um, Part of it is my Everton pessimism.
Yeah, I
Part
think
of
you
it
have
also,
imposter syndrome.
I mean, they've just done this every single year where they just get new signings and they completely fall flat. But they haven't done it so far. In terms of
Funny,
Everton.
I honestly think there's way more to look forward to this year as an Everton fan than a Barca fan.
Oh yeah, 100%. Barcelona just completely different. It's
Messi
like
revenge tour season.
yeah, Messi's just gonna they're just gonna win La Liga and Messi's gonna leave. So uh, you've won, but at what cost?
We're looking
In
forward
terms
to it,
of
folks.
Wolves, yeah, like they're gonna look like a completely different team. So I think they'll finish a cool seventh or sixth. Like I think they might finish above Spurs, right? Like
I
there's
don't
a
know. It really depends how Bale comes in and kind of a James situation. I think if he stays fit,
yeah.
we
The
got a
transfer window isn't
real.
done yet, so we can't exactly set in stone. Like look
Also,
at
it's
the
probably
projection.
a good sign that they just won their a match 5-2 without two of their
Yeah,
their two marquee guys. So
yeah. I'm really excited
man,
for
if
Reguilon
the
when he comes in.
transfer window closes without United signing another guy besides Zani though, oof,
Yeah, not gonna be good. Not gonna be good.
they're gonna
Then,
go
like,
outside.
but any other closing thoughts from around the footballing world? I really don't have much.
This
Like,
kind of
just
functions as our like predictions thing. So instead of predictions, I'm gonna try some manifestations. I'd like West Ham to be relegated. I want Fulham to be 20th because they deserve it. Let's get Leeds top 10 for the chaos. Um, Graham Potter Hive. You know what? I'm gonna take my Leeds goodwill out for actually a Brighton top 10 finish.
oh,
Um,
okay. I definitely don't agree with that. I think Brighton
Not a
comfortably
prediction, but a manifestation. Listen to me right now.
manifestation. Okay. So for mine, I'll probably say. I mean, you stole most of mine. I mean, those are the ones that I get. Brighton, cool 12th finish place, please. Make the
Top 10,
like
unheard of. 12. Now that's a good prediction.
Everton European spot. I hope. Cross the fingers. I say Southampton finish in the top 13. Like they finish 11th possibly. I think they finish. There's a possibility they could finish above. Like I'm interested to see like Southampton, Burnley, Brighton. Like I think those are the three teams that will round out the top 13 with like 14th possibly being someone. I don't know.
Crystal
Palace
Palace look good too.
maybe.
I think
Yeah.
Palace might
So
be another one of
yeah.
those teams.
So it's a very like nerdy Premier League thing, but like the race for like ninth through 14th is a complete like mess every year. And this year it's looking like those teams can beat anyone on any given day,
I'm
or at
not
least
gonna
give
lie.
them trouble. At least give them trouble.
I think that this year it's definitely that two teams are already clear-cut promotion or relegation favorites too.
Yeah. So and it's, I mean, West Brom. I hope West Brom out of the like two out of the three promoted teams, I have a little bit of faith in with like
I don't
Leeds
know.
being number one.
It's tough. I They look like a really good championship team, but they look like a
Yeah.
really like dog shit Premier League team. They
Yeah.
I
I'm waiting
like
to
the way they
see.
play, but man, I think that they don't finish any higher than 18th.
Yeah, I think by December maybe we're probably going to see two teams that have already like with Norwich last year, just like mentally be like, okay, we're going to go down. How do we build from there? Um, yeah, I
Please
don't
do
have any
not
other thought.
fire the King Slavin, bro.
Yeah, I wouldn't fire any of these managers that are going down. Scott Parker, Slaven Bilic look fine. If you're a Premier League team going down, yeah, you probably gotta. I like out of those relegation candidates, like Villa probably should fire their manager if they go down or if they're in a relegation battle. But West Ham and Newcastle, yeah, they probably.
Oh, they're gone 100% if they go down. Either of those
Mhm.
managers.
Not even going to look at the standings or talk about it because it's the first two match days. Everything looks wacky.
But I think there's a certain team on top of those, if I'm not mistaken.
It's Leicester. Everton's second
Oh
now,
man.
sadly. We've lost out on goals four. So my screenshot does not live forever of Everton finishing first in the Prem. But it's been a fun first 2 weeks. I think that wraps it up. There's some good games on next week.
Who would have thought that we
Liverpool,
would be
Arsenal.
waking up at like 6 in the morning to watch James put on a blue Everton kit, dude?
Yeah, I just can't believe that he's signed for Everton. Still can't believe it. But they play Crystal Palace next week, so hopefully they don't get caught on the counter like they did against West Brom because they certainly will be losing the game if they do. Some good matchups next week: Man City, Leicester, Liverpool, Arsenal. We have a relegation battle already with Fulham, Villa. I don't think who are Leeds playing. Leeds, Sheffield.
Dude, I feel like
Tactically, I think that's good.
Fulham are gonna lose like every game they play, man. Like They
You think they're going to be Derby County bad?
I
Are
don't
they going to
know.
be like,
I mean, like, it does not seem like the matchups are getting easier for them.
yeah, it's a big jump to the Premier League, especially if you're the playoff winner, right?
They need Clint
So,
Dempsey back, man.
to be fair, this kind of would have been Brentford too, right? At least it would have been a little more fun with Brentford. I'll say that.
God damn it, dude.
Uh, yeah. So I think this wraps up episode 43 of the Counterpress podcast. Once again, I'm VJ, and that was Josh. You can follow us, follow me at VJMove, follow Josh at High Biscuits. We're on Spotify, Apple, so subscribe, tell your friends, listen. Please rate and review on iTunes. That really helps us a lot. Give us 5 stars if you like what you hear, and do give constructive criticism. We're always open to that. Josh, anything else you would like to plug before we wrap it up?
Please sign my petition to relegate West Ham.
Oh my god.
I'm
Yeah.
linking it
Uh,
in the bio to this episode. 1 million, 1 million subscribers. 1 million petition. We will,
1 million.
Mr. Donald Trump, please relegate West Ham. Supreme Court
I think
nomination
that's.
can wait.
I think that's it. So thank you guys for listening, and we'll catch you next week.
Peace.